get this going here. Okay, so I just kind of want to start you out from the beginning. So are you on the, if you're on the same screen I am, I just clicked on my name up at the top. What I'm going to do now is come down the screen and I'm going to click on instruction. And just kind of try to stay with me. If I get ahead of you, just put your hand up and I'll slow it down. There's a few of us here. We should be able to hold on for each other, no problem. The next place I'm going to go in this screen is assignments. I'm going to move the cursor over top of assignments so you can see where I'm going. Anytime I ask you to go somewhere, I'm just going to go ahead and move that over where I want you to go, so you can see where to go next. Okay, I think everybody's there but me. So, okay. So this is your home base. Assignments are it. Where in years past it was always the grade book. If you notice, there is no grade book here. It's gone. So it's not to say that it'll never return, but it's not going to return for a while until we get really familiar with how to do this. Because the grade book can mess us up if we go about it wrong. So we want everybody to get really used to it this way. First step we're going to do is edit grade calc options. Right here, we're going to basically set up your grading scale and tell it how to look at your assessments and what to do with them.
You don't have that. I don't have that. I have
Okay. Okay. Carolyn, can you go peek at that real quick? We'll hold for you 1 second. It might be the same as that other user we had this morning. Oh, and make sure, I'm sorry, you know what, I should have caught you too. There was something I forgot to have you do. Make sure you're on year 11, 12. Up at the top. 11, 12. Make sure it says JCal School, which it should. Click your grade level. Make sure you're in the proper grade level. And then you need to click a class that has, that you're going to actually be that you're going to have assessments for. Are we good to go now?
Yep.
Okay. So now we're going to click on the grade calc option. Again, this is going to be like setting up your grading system so it can recognize, so it knows what you want to do. The first step that I want to do is click fill all for no calculation here. Once you've done that, I'm gonna come down the page until you get, actually right to the bottom. You can probably have lots of standards that are highlighted, but I want to come down where it says grading task quarter 1. Right now it's probably clicked on no calculation. If you'll move over and click on just the quarter now, not the progress, click calculate in progress grade. And if you would please highlight academic growth indicators. Academic growth indicators. Yep, you have two. One has an asterisk, one doesn't. You can use whichever one you want. They do the same thing. Once you've done that, come down to your quarter 2. You might as well get all these at the same time. Do the same exact thing you did. Calculate in progress grade. Pick your academic things. Ms. Knight?
We just do the quarters, right? Not the semester?
Just the quarters right now. And I just got that reaffirmed a little while ago too. Just quarters. So I'm going to come down and get my third quarter. And I'm going to come down and get my fourth. If something changed from here, we'll just Sharon, I'm sure we'll just send a message out and we can always come back to this and do something different. But right now this looks like the way to go. Okay, once you're done, you can come back up to the top of the screen and click Save at the top of your screen. If you need me to slow it down, you just let me know. Okay,
Can you just get us caught up quickly?
sure.
So we're here. You can see where we are.
Okay, so click Edit. Okay, make sure she's got her grade chosen, all that good
Yep,
stuff. Or
that's all good.
okay, Edit Grade Calc option. Fill all on the no calculation.
Okay.
Come on right down to the very bottom of the screen. Drag that cursor right down to the bottom.
Okay.
Click on quarter 1 or find quarter 1 and click on Calculate in Progress Grade.
Okay.
Now choose Academic Growth Indicators for the from the pull-down menu.
Okay.
Do that on all 4 quarters and then hit Save. Just going to give her a second to catch back up, and then she'll be right with us. And
It's a middle school class, and I have 1 quarter.
oh, good. Okay. All right. All right. Next step are to set up our categories. Now these were a long time ago. These used to be your quizzes and tests, whatever they were called. Now we're calling them assessments. We only need to set up one because everything going to this book needs to be an assessment. So we'll come down and click and actually I've already got them set up here, so don't look. I'm going to delete my category so you can't see this.
What did you click before?
Hold on one second. Let me get rid of this, and then I want my screen to look like your screen. So pretend you don't see anything right now. Okay. This is what your screen should look like. Edit categories. In case you're wondering, or if we get something, I'm recording all this and the keystrokes and everything like that, so we'll put them up so you guys can watch this video. Now we're going to come over to the Create Category tab. So again, I'm moving my cursor over that spot if you want to know where it is. And I'm going to click there. All right, let me look around. It looks like we're all pretty darn close. Yep, looks great. All right, so I have got an easy name for this. I'm just going to call them assessments. And I don't need to do anything for the weight. I don't need to do anything for the sequence. But I might want to exclude a category from calculation. It won't be assessments. But if I were to create another one here and call it pre-tests, well, we don't want pre-tests to be going into calculation, so that one would be an exclude from category calculation. But for assessments, of course, we do want them going in, so we're going to leave these 2 boxes unchecked. Now for me, I have several sections of this course, so I'm going to click, to make life easier for myself, I'm going to click both sections, because I don't want to do this twice, if I don't have to.
I have a question about that.
Okay?
When you say that, like I teach all 3 classes science.
Yes.
Is that where this should come in?
I would think so. Are all 3 there?
No, they're not, and I don't understand why.
That would be a Sharon question then,
Okay.
to find out why they're not coming up that way. Yes, ma'am?
So this is just the overall category of assessments? And
Yes.
you have several different types of just fit
Exactly.
within this category?
Exactly. But so assessments are what we want to stay with. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right.
Anything that the students are doing by themselves,
Now,
any kind of assessment.
depending on how your content standards or GLICs were set up, you may or may not be checking all of these buttons, but all the ones that you know for sure, like these are subheadings for me, temporal thinking. It's not an actual GLIC by itself. It's a actually it's a parent standard. So I don't assess this. I assess the things underneath this. So for me, it's the things with check marks that I need to go through. And you want to highlight all of these because you don't want to have to do these all at the same time. The cool part about this is, and the reason why you want to do all of these right now, the only things that will show up in your grade book, or not grade book, but in your summaries, are just the things that have been assessed already. So you don't have to worry about a ton of these showing up all the time and making a mess. But when you want them and you want to assign them later to actual assessments, they're all there for you all year long. So right now you want to go through and select all of your standards. Because eventually you're going to assess all of your standards. And that's why we're doing this now. We may get to it first quarter or fourth quarter or bunches of times in between. But we know we're going to get to it.
Robert, did you say just click the boxes with the little dash in front?
For me, that's how it goes. I know that eventually, and I want to say this too, eventually we're going to get the GLIC codes in here or the content codes in here. So it'll be much easier to see what you're actually clicking on. But I think for most people, they have these headings in there. So for me, I'm just clicking on my GLICs that are here. So the other ones here, like characteristics of a nation state, that's not a GLIC. It's a heading, but it's the stuff underneath it. That's a GLIC. That's something I can actually assess.
I don't have any.
So you just look at it depends on how yours were put in.
So if you just click them all, can't you just assign them later to the assessment?
Or maybe you just want to, yes, or maybe you won't assign them at all. It doesn't matter. So if you're not sure, just click them all. That's the point. If you're unsure, just click it.
Robert, are you sure about the 0 weight?
Yes, I'm absolutely positive.
'Cause Sharon had me click 100.
I know, but it was wrong.
So I go back, change that?
Go back and change it, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of things changed on Friday. Okay, once you've got everything highlighted that you want, come down to quarter. It's at the very bottom of that page. Only one you have to highlight is just quarter. And once you're done with that, hit Save Category up at the top.
Okay, quarter.
Yep, just quarter, not progress, semester, or final exam, just quarter.
Do you have final exam on yours?
I do, yes.
Okay, because I don't. I shouldn't though, right?
I don't know, it depends if you guys give them or not.
No. I just wanted to make
Okay, I'm going to save category, and it's gonna record all of it, and it's got categories. Now we are ready to get down to the meat and potatoes of what we do here. We're going to start creating assessments. So at this main screen, when you get back there, it looks like everybody's back or pretty close. Let me hold for 1 second up here. I have got one staff member we're holding for, it looks like. So just give us 1 second. Because this is a spot where I don't want to lose anyone. You third grade teachers have a ton of GLICs to click, so you could be clicking for a while.
Thanks for reminding us.
And I already asked them for a select all button, so I already put it in. We tried to catch everything we could and put it in all at one time. Okay, so I'm going to click Create Assessment. Nope, it's actually assignment here. Sorry, guys. Create Assignments. And now I'm going to give my assignment a name. You can go with the GLIC code, whatever floats your boat. For me, I know I don't want to keep this, so I'm going to click Delete Me, because I don't want this to mistakenly get into operation. I'm going to give it the abbreviation DEL. This test strand, we don't do anything with it. It had a lot to do with the old MAT 8s and some MEEP data, but we're just definitely not doing anything with it, so you don't need to worry about that. If you'd like to set up for more than one class and you have it available, this would be a good time to do it. I'm going to go ahead and set mine up for both. You might want to hide some pre-tests or hide something, but I don't know quite why you'd want to, or maybe you'd want to hide it because you don't want parents to see it yet and then unhide it later. I'm not sure, but you'd have to play around with that.
Or something that's only for your purposes for teaching.
Well, I was thinking you might do that when you were setting up like Oh, no, you're right. Maybe it would happen there because there's another spot where you can hide as well. This is where you're going to hit your assigned dates. Go ahead.
Standard numbers were gonna be added later, is that what?
They are. That we're
Okay,
really.
It's gonna be helpful.
It's going to be real.
With groups, if I have like two sections
That's
of
what
middle
edit's for.
school, but I don't have one right now, would I just be better off hiding that assignment until I do
Yeah.
have that class?
That makes perfect sense. Yes. Okay. Click your due date. We'll give this a couple days. I'll just click something on the 21st for both of these dates. The sequence you don't really need to worry about. That's the order that it appears. Yes, Tracy.
When you do the due date, before when we did it, I just pretty much ignored the due date because
Yeah.
I always put it after. Is that gonna work the same, or do you have to have a date? Is this gonna be?
Well, there's so much tied to this. There's calendars that are tied to this. There's a lot of things in the parent portal that are tied to this so that parents could see those due dates and see something coming. So I know parents would love to see when these things are
For
coming.
you. But in third grade, their assignments are all done in school except for,
Oh, okay.
so they wouldn't.
So I guess, yeah, you can
Okay,
ignore it if
all
you
right.
choose.
It's not
Or
gonna affect though what.
no,
result.
it's not. I don't
Okay.
think it's going to make any
All right,
difference
I just
other
wanna
than.
make sure that it
Yep, you're
changed.
okay.
It works the same as before.
Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to come down. Now this is, remember, this is an assessment for me. I'm going to come down and I'm going to choose the, in my case, the GLICs that apply. You guys probably have. So I'm just going to pick a couple here to work with. 2 GLICs are in your content standards. Now it's really nice, at least we got this set up correctly. Once you click whichever ones you want to apply to this, again, it may only be one, but this gets set up pretty nicely already for you. Should always be on rubrics, should never be on marks or points. That's just not what ours do. Remember, there's a lot of different school systems doing a lot of different things. This works for what we're doing here. So I'm going to come on down to the bottom of the page. It seems like you almost always have to do. And I'm going to click on quarter now. So I'm just going to hang out at quarter here for a minute, let everybody catch up with me. And once I click on quarter, there's a couple things you need to do here. So I don't want to lose anybody here. Okay, well actually, there's only one thing you need to do here. You need to click from points to marks. If you don't do that, it's going to mess everything up. And then once you get marks on here, it wants to know how you want to grade it, and you need to do academic growth indicators. And then here they are. You don't need to do anything with total points or multiplier here because you're not going to be using that system. So these, just leave them the way they are. They won't hurt anything the way they are. Just leave it. Come up, and what I'd like you to do is hit save and score at the top of your sheet so we can show you how to do that. We're now going to the next step. Save and score. And I'll bounce my pointer around up there for a while for you. Okay, save and score. All right, so I have 2 sections. And I applied them both, so it wants to know, hey, which one of these do you want to do? Because we know you don't want to score 2 classes at once. So I'll just pick this one that's the O2 and hit score section. Nice. This might get ugly for me. Looks like some kind of an error. I could probably validate and clean that up, but I'll see what it does first. Okay, so I've got a student here. I'm not going to bother filling everybody in, but I will show you how you do it. If you come down here next to the student and you click down here, you see your 1 through 4. Remember, 1 is high, 4 is low. You can choose whichever the student got. Now notice how the GLICs, now you actually see the code, which is nice. At least now you know what you're dealing with. So you can score each of these differently. So he gets a 1 on one and a 2 on the other. Now this GT3, in this case, is an actual, this is kind of like the total score that would go into the grade book now, or would go into the CA60 for that student. Here's the thing about that score. no one ever sees it. The parents don't see it, the students don't see it. The only time you ever see it is right here, and eventually the I guess the CA60 would get it. The problem is, I don't know how to make this thing work, because if you have multiple assessments here, or multiple assessed items here, how do you choose a score if they're different? And I don't know what the answer to this is. So for me right now, I'm kind of leaving them blank, but I guess for you, if you can figure out a way that you would like to assign an overall score to this, go ahead and pick it. Maybe your gut tells you where they're closer to, if, you know, I don't know. I don't know how you do this. So for me,
G23 stands for?
it's a combination score.
It's a grade total.
It's okay, grade total sounds great. It's a grade total of these two items. So I don't know how you total them. They're not designed to be
Because you have
totaled.
more than one lick.
Right, because you have more than one glick here. So I don't know.
You should be really assessing glick by glick. So
Really, the solution to this is just assess each glick by itself. But if for some reason you
And a
don't,
gut scenario. And hissy fit.
yes, okay.
That's for girls.
At
So.
least he's not doing wiggle.
That's true.
So I'm going to leave this blank for me because I just don't know what to do with that.
Okay, I have a question about it though. before
Yes.
you- What? Where you're saying that that's gonna eventually end up in the CA60, I'm not sure how, so what would it be in the CA60 then? Because when we
We
Well-
can print labels,
we're still gonna
but
put a grade for math.
a number. So at the very end, for the purposes of, even though
I
this
bet
kind
you
of.
don't want to go here, do you?
I know, but I have a kind of quick and dirty answer. Even though the state's requiring us to do standard space report cards, the teacher-student data link is requiring us to have final grades. They don't care if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. So, you know, we are gonna have
Can you
to
talk to them about that or
give them something, but it's really,
Okay.
I think
All right.
it's a case of the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
boy,
Absolutely.
is it.
Um,
And I will be going to the school improvement conference, and I'll ask for people who wanna come with me, but that will be one of the sessions I will attend, right at the State Department, so that I can address that one.
That's huge.
That was
It
on my
doesn't
list.
matter, and I understand why we're hiding it and why we have to report it. I get that, I just wondered if that was the case of
Yeah.
not knowing that
It's-
one's asking for one. and-
Absolutely.
Okay.
There are a couple little tricks here I want to show you.
All right.
Let's say that you wanted to award everyone a 2 because most people got that and you just want to go change those couple that were different. So if I come up to this top part, select a 2 here, and I click fill all, it goes down that whole row. So that, again, you could give that score all the way down. I can get rid of it by just saying fill all, and then it gets rid of it there. You can also leave a note, although I want to put these in so I don't forget. You can also leave a note. This note will show up in the parent portal. And parents, obviously will see it, but it's really good because it's very specific to this assignment. You might be asking a parent to work more on, a certain type of assignment with students that they could do. So this would be a good spot for it. These check marks over here, this one is if you just want to count them turned in, you'll grade them later, but you just want to see who you've got it for and who you're missing. You can check this. This one is missing assignments. It's still out. Late assignments turned in late, incomplete, cheated, or exempt. Any of those can be chosen. Yes, ma'am.
I know I have lots of questions.
Go ahead.
If I were to do 2, I only put one glick on mine, but you
Mhm.
have 2 on yours.
Yes.
What if you want to fill all on that second column? Will that change the first column?
And
Yeah.
this one?
Yes.
Okay, let's try it.
We're
I'm
gonna
going to
do
go 3 and I'm going to
together.
fill all. Okay, and I'm going to go 2 and I'm going to fill all, and now,
Okay, so you went back, so now I can have 2, I can fill all on both columns separately.
right.
Now you
Or,
can do it.
or I have a feeling I could say fill empty. So I could say, let me get rid of these because I have a feeling I can,
You want to fill both, can I speak?
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Edit that too. You want to fill both columns completely with the fill all. Let's say your base is usually a 2. You've been working on this, you're fairly confident. So fill both rows as a 2 first, and then go back and make your changes and then save, because if you fill the first one like you were asking and made your changes and you went and did fill all on the second one, because those two are attached to the same assignment, what will happen is the first one will then fill all back into twos as well. But if you fill them both as twos and then change them both, then that works perfectly.
Could I say the first one, I'm more confident that they got it fill all with a 2, and the third one, I'm pretty sure we just introduced this one, so I'm gonna fill all with a 3. Can I have a column of 2s and a column of 3s?
Yes,
Okay,
that you
alright.
can do.
Just do them all at the same
Do
time.
them all at the same time,
Yeah.
all right.
The other thing
Okay.
too I noticed when I was playing around that will happen is if you click this turned in, oops, never mind. Because before when I clicked turned in, it erased everything that was here. So evidently that's not happening now, which is cool. Okay. All right, so once we get this, I'm going to go ahead and save scores up at the top. I'll move that around so you can see where I'm at. Save scores. And if you wanted to, that you could obviously create more assessments at this point, which will probably be what you do because I imagine you're going to create a lot of your assessments early. But for right now, you're probably going to want to start to look at what's going on in your classroom. So now we're actually coming up to one of the last stages, which is to go look and see what's going on so you can see what you need to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to reports. So it's still under instruction. Now reports. And then I'm going to come down in this list to student summary. And again, you have a lot of these sheets in your handout. These are screenshots to show you how these things get set up. Let me see if I can get to the right page for us. Yes.
Well, Robert's looking real quick. I want to point out that there might be a lot of reasons that you use this report throughout the year, but this is not, we will probably use this as progress reports for the first quarter and the first quarter only. And then we'll have a regular process for progress reports, report cards from thereafter. So this is probably the only time you're going to have to use student summary, but you can use it throughout the year, and it's a good program, but it's just a little bit laborious to set up, but it has a very nice printout.
And you know, frankly, you know, if I just want to see a single student, this would be a nice way. Or if I want to give the students their progress reports at any point, I can do this too as well. So lots of different uses for me. Okay, so in this case now I'm going to click on student summary. If you go to this fourth page in your handout, I don't have them numbered, but just, nope, it's going to be the fifth page in your handout, sorry. You should see a page that looks similar to this one. I'll hold it up for you. It says NAISIS at the top, which they probably all say NAISIS, they do. This one says page printing options. This is in case you forgot what I'm showing you here right now, so you'll have it. For a single student summary, click on the show assignment detail, and then you can leave these three checked: name, group name, and due date. Although group name, if you start playing with groups, you're going to want to uncheck that later on when you start playing with groups, because it can get confusing. But for right now, most of us don't have groups, so it's not a big deal. Definitely, and this will mess you up, I've already had one person ask me about it today from this morning's training, definitely uncheck the points possible, because you'll get some number and you'll go, what? What does that mean? It won't even make sense. Now, on the grade summary off the right-hand column, off the right-hand side of the sheet, uncheck everything down except for alternate shade rows. I'm going to scroll down a little ways. Maybe I should wait for you. Want me to wait a little bit, or? Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tab down. Now, I didn't fill anything out for anyone except for Gabriel, so there's no point in me printing these for everyone. So I'm just going to click on Gabriel. Now, see all this stuff off the right-hand side looks a mess. You don't have to touch it. That's the beauty of this program. Really is beautiful. It's only going to show you what you've assessed. So now all you have to do is click Generate Report. Okay, let me bring this up a little bigger. Now for this student, I have two different GLICs. They're here and here. These are the scores on those GLICs. It's an assessment. Here's what they did. Now here's what I absolutely love. If we went back and did another assessment with this student, and it just happened to hit, it could even be a multiple, but it hit one of these same benchmarks or standards or GLICs, it would then list any scores that they did underneath this one. So you would be able to see everything that student's done all year long in one report right here. And I think, you know, for those of you that are wanting to show growth in your, this is going to be an excellent tool. You've got the dates right there, the scores, and you can just show how they improved over time very easily. And you
So
can just
meaning
keep
if I
this-
assess it 4 times throughout the year,
Correct.
it's gonna have them all on
It's
there
gonna-
in order of date?
Yeah, it's going to have them all on in order of date. Now you may have to go, as we get into other marking periods, other quarters, you may have to go back and check those dates of the other quarters, because I have a feeling it's only going to highlight the quarter that you're in. So you may have to add second, or actually second will light up and you have to go back and check first.
Will it average?
No,
No.
it does not average. We don't want it to average. Because we're not looking for a student, we just want to know what did they get. So eventually when we print a report card, what it's going to do is take the highest. I think it's going to, actually the jury's still out on this, how we want to go. We'll be talking about it. We don't know if it's going to take the highest of those totals or if it's just going to take the last score that they got at that time. Right now, these guys are set, Infinite Campus is set to make it probably the highest of the group. We'll have to argue it out with them if we want to do something different. But that's coming up in the next couple weeks. As soon
Can I
as we
say
get
mine
that
just
done.
before I forget? And
Yes, and then you can be on tape forever
Okay.
with it.
One of the reasons why taking the highest is not a good idea is because if you're doing reading levels, they might have been reading, that high mark might have been at an L and this next one might have been at an N. You don't want them, that highest score could have been an L. Well, that's a lower reading level. So if you don't take that last one, you've totally just given them a score on a level that they're not working on.
Okay, makes sense.
So it won't work if you do it that way. I just want to say
And
that for
I
the
can't
doc.
see any huge arguments as to why it wouldn't, you know, so I think it would work either way, and that's a better argument for not going the other way. So I'm guessing they'll do whatever we want since
The
they're
good news-
building it for us.
Right, and the good news is the program can go either way. It's not one of the,
One
deal
or the other.
breakers.
And that's,
One or the
that was
other.
just now, it just dawned on me that won't work for that situation, so.
Okay, so here's this. We were playing with this a little bit this morning after this morning's training, and we did find that there are other reports that are going to be very useful for us as well. One of those other reports is going to be the section summary, so this is new since this morning. Your colleagues probably aren't going to be aware of this because I didn't talk about it this morning. But if you click on that, that's basically one up from there. If you want to see your whole class, which I'm sure most of you will want, it gives you that kind of full grade book looking document. Again, I'm just going to click on that one student because that's all I have data for, but it would work for the whole class. I didn't change any of these right now. I don't know if there's anything in here I have to change. It looked pretty good the way it stood, so I'm going to generate the report, and here it is. Here's that one student. Obviously, you'd have all of your students listed below, and here's their total score in the class. Oh, here's the points. Okay, so I want to get that out of there. That's going to be confusing. So I don't want that. Oh, and I don't want that percent either.
So you have to go
that's
back
going to
and
be.
uncheck them?
So I need to go back and uncheck those. Those are going to make it confusing. But here's one that you can play with, make it work for yourself. Just remember that anything with points are going to make it wrong, and anything with percent is going to make it wrong.
Could Infinite Campus
No, hide
can't
those.
script it?
They won't do it. I wonder, maybe Sharon could script this one. We'll have to ask her about it, but
Because she did the other one.
Yeah, she did.
I'll write that down.
Okay. Other than that, folks, that is our show. Yes. by
Now,
all
questions
means.
and discussion.
Or hopefully not, hopefully my last. We did, like, so, okay, we go through and do all of those steps for each of the academic subjects, But what about the
Lifestyle?
adaptability, goal setting,
The
motivation, do we have to set those
Oh.
up as well?
Yes, no, actually. I'm sorry. Sharon said that those are to be done, and it really was sweet the way she did it. So those get done. I'm glad you asked, because I forgot to talk about it this morning. Let me close out of here and come back up. Those get done grading by task.
Okay, so if we go on,
So I clicked on grading by task up here, and I'm going to choose 6th grade adaptability. And don't forget, folks, we'll put this up somewhere where you can get to it. So you'll be able to come back and see this. Boy, am I glad you brought that up, Tracy. Because I even made a mental note to say something about it, and I forgot it again.
it's not loaded with scores.
Okay, right, it won't be. So, 6th grade adaptability. In this case, we want to do quarter 1. And you see what your choices are right here. You just go right down the list and pick them.
Mine looks different than that,
I
why?
think I have that.
No, okay. Let me back up. So it might be something that maybe isn't set up for you. I don't know. But for us, that's all I did. And this is what Sharon told us to do when I was working with her the other day. And it worked great for me, so I just assumed everybody's was set up that way.
Michelle, you seem to have it.
And then if you come down right here,
I think you need to go through the steps again.
okay. So I'm going to go back and start this right over from scratch, guys.
Mine doesn't have it.
Click on grading by task. Make sure you're in one of those pull down ones. Make sure you've got one of the adaptability, goal setting, one of those, or this isn't going to work for you.
Well, mine was only one, adaptability doesn't have it, but goal setting does.
Okay, that sounds like a Sharon.
And Jackie, are you in the same boat?
No, I had a question about the other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
On the map, when I clicked on them, because they're separate in my pull downs, so when I go to attach a standard, do I have to go and assign, like, instead of saying, because all my classes are the same assignment, I have
Yes.
to go to each class and create it, I can't attach it for all 3?
Ask Sharon on that one. Just email Sharon.
I have-
There's
I have
probably a
it.
way to do it.
Well, you
I'm
can
just-
do it.
I'm emailing a
Yeah.
whole list of,
Of who doesn't have, but all those should show up in your, so those would be ones that say, Sharon, I want these classes should be grouped, or I need these classes grouped. And, because they should be grouped just like mine are, so you can just click them all at that moment, so you don't have to go individuals.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
I'm guessing they just don't have
do
your,
it 3 times.
your team teaching.
Do it 3 times.
Well, she knows we're team teaching, but she maybe doesn't have them grouped the way she's grouped you.
Yeah, she may not know who's team teaching what, I don't know, but she just
does,
probably
because
has.
she does. them in.
She put them already in.
Okay, well, I know we can, I'm sure we can get that one done easily. Okay, so I have adaptability chosen, I have quarter 1. And this might be, I don't know if this might have caught somebody here. And then you get something that kind of looks like this with some students in it. And then all I did was come down here and start choosing what I want. I could probably fill all. Let's see, let me try this. Highly proficient.
Darcy, do you not have this either?
I don't have this.
Fill all.
I guess,
We'll have to do a general.
Well, the nice
check.
part about catching everybody, training everyone, is at least we're going to see who's got what.
am I in the right, like, it would be up here in this pull down, is that correct?
That's correct.
That's
might-
just like my classes.
You might not have
I'm
to
wondering
do
if they're,
that though.
yeah, she probably isn't going to make you do that.
I only have to do it with the 8th grade. With
Remember,
mine.
I
you
have to do
could-
it with, like, wouldn't that be a comment? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
would
could,
have to,
you
because-
could still do it as a comment. But I'm guessing that for this very specific thing, they may only want like homerooms.
Mine's only logged up for my homeroom. Mine
That's
said
weird because usually it's those kinds of classes and PE and those kinds
Okay,
of
well, that's
skill
an us
sets
question.
Yeah, so
So-
I have it down.
My guess is somebody thought you didn't need it, but we'll rehash it, go through our group, figure out if you're supposed to have it. If you are, we'll get it for you.
well, if it's a standard and there's some reason that they're not meeting it.
Exactly.
then you
Yeah.
should be able-
Okay, and I'm guessing it'll probably come out that you do need it, and you will get it.
It might have been oversight or.
Okay, so there you have that, and then once you're done, just make sure you save, and these will go. I think Sharon's working on automatically posting to Quarter for us,
Yeah.
so we don't ever have to do that again. So a lot of the stuff should be behind the scenes now. And this is it. This is all there is to it.
The only thing she did want me to mention that I didn't say this morning, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Sharon said that, and you won't be able to see it, but she's put on as a secondary on all of your grade books, only so that she can, if you need to call her in her office and say, hey, you know, such and such isn't working, she can log on as a secondary on yours and walk you through something or tell you, well, you don't have X, Y, and Z checked or whatever. So she just wanted to make sure that you all knew that, and Infinite Campus just automatically put her on. And they said that's just standard operating procedure, and she was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And then we told her, no, that's fine, teachers will like it because that way, you know, they can get a higher level of technical support. So she wanted to make sure that you all knew that.
Just for the sake of interest, just because I actually didn't show you this either, if you click back on assignments, and make sure you're in the right class now. Remember to leave the behavior courses and come back to these. But you will see your assessments that you have here listed here. If you want to do anything with that assessment, just click on the assessment itself, and you can go back in here and save and score. You can score it again, add more scores to it.
That's the only way to get to scoring it, though,
It's the only way
is to
I
go back
know of
in.
so far. I'm sure we're all going to find lots of different ways to do this, but right now it's the only way I know of. And Infinite Campus has got more videos coming out on this, and so you know you could sit down and watch some of those. I'm sure there are other ways to do it. It's just I know that's the only way I know of right at this minute. If you needed to delete an assignment, you would do it here. This is where you would get rid of it. Anytime you go back to the assignment list, this is going to be your home base. This is going to be where you do the majority of your work. Okay? Yes?
I don't know, it's a good question.
Okay.
I
go ahead.
have two, and maybe they're just more specific to me. I'm going to give a pre-test and a post-test, and in between, there's going to be the whole learning path of
Right.
the assignments and stuff. What do I do with the assignments? They're
Okay.
not assessments, they're
So-
practice.
Right, so create them, you can create them, you can create a whole category for practice, and just make sure that you hide it from calculation, or hide it from, keep it from calculation.
And that would be for your purposes
And
only.
then you're the only one really seeing it. So it's under, edit categories, you're gonna create a category, you're gonna call it practice, or whatever you want to here. And just make sure you exclude category from calculation. Make sure you hide what you're doing in there, so you know, parents aren't necessarily seeing it or whatever, so you're seeing it for growth. If you want the students to see what they're doing, I'm sure you may, you know, then you can just print them a report or whatever. Or maybe, I don't know, do you want parents seeing that practice? I mean, I don't know, is there best practices on that we know of?
Well,
As
they-
far as allowing
But
them
I
to
mean,
see
if
it?
they're missing 3 assignments, they have to go to the SLC. Well, how do I see if they're missing 3 assignments?
Well,
It's
just
not like they're
because
gonna miss
it's
3
not in the
assessments.
book, you don't have to put everything in the book to know that it's not missing, right?
You can use this as your electronic formative assessment tracking book, certainly.
How?
I just
The hiding?
Yes.
You see where it says exclude this category? That's the main one, is
But
exclude
just
this
exclude the
category from.
category, then you don't have to hide every assignment under that category.
Right, and just exclude it.
You'll see it,
From
but
calculation. If whether you know, I don't think it matters if parents see it or not. That's up to you as an individual. But as long as you exclude it, then its weight's not gonna go into actually start balancing against assessment or anything like that.
We
Because
just
that's
all-
where it gets complicated with the system.
and
Okay.
we all want to be on, I want to follow up on
Go
the
ahead.
same question, Allison, because we want to make sure that all of our parents are kind of but that they're all seeing the same thing, and that we're moving them away from, you know, the old-fashioned inflated grade system that we had, because if they're getting any assistance or any help, that's not a true reflection of what they know. And so that's the whole idea behind the assessments. They're doing it on their own. This is what they can do. This is the information they control on their own. And that's the important part, because that's, you know, especially, well, I shouldn't say especially in the younger grades, but it doesn't matter what grade, that
Any
can
grade.
help with a lot of different things, because it can tell us, you know, do they have a motivation issue? You know, that's where you go down to your life skills to start reflecting some of those things. And, you know, the minute they miss their first assignment, you know, right to SLC, catch them really quick and make sure that they get in here and we'll bus them home. So, and we're tracking all that too. So we're tracking that for you.
But
So
I know that I'm gonna have parents that are like, well, if they're 3 assignments behind and they're in the SLC, how come I can't go look and see what assignments
You
they're missing?
can, you
And
can, then just don't hide it. If you think that's gonna be an issue for you, don't hide it, and that's fine, but don't include it in calculation or it's gonna mess everything up.
So you, do you see the difference? So you can exclude it from calculation,
or
but,
hide it.
but unhide it from view.
Okay, and then my other question, is there a way to see all of the kids, like in the old grade book, where you could see the kids and you could see all of the different, I guess, standards that we've tested so far and see that, okay, this one has got all 5, but this one, you know, a quick view.
That's what reports.
Okay, but it didn't do that. It had each click on a different page. I got
No,
23 pages that came
Right,
up.
that's because you did, student summary. Come up and do section summary, that's what
I
that's for.
did, and under that I had 23 pages for a class of 12. Section summary.
You may have had something
Mm-hmm.
checked.
Yeah, we may have to, we're gonna have to play with this, because certainly didn't get that many. Hold on, institutions, names.
Jesse has a question after you're done with that.
Okay, you wanna, okay. Ellison, we'll have to play with this later and see which one we want to do for that, but certainly there's gonna be a way to show that, and we'll find it.
I'm just setting up my other categories, and the weight was a 0, right?
The weight is exactly as it,
Well, no, because at another NAISIS training, we had put in 100,
no,
and
yeah.
that's within of our categories.
Which category? You won't, yeah, if you're setting up a category, just leave it the way it is.
Yeah,
But no,
but,
but
but
we-
it was before, we had changed it to 100, so
Now
we
they
had
wanna know what
to
it
change
is.
training when we changed it to 100.
We
What
were
other
told
NAISIS
that
training?
That was before school
Before
started.
school started.
Oh, yeah, everything, a lot of things have changed since then. So do what I just showed you
They
now.
just want to know what to put it back to.
0, goes back to 0,
I
right?
don't know, I have to go and look and see what one of mine is. I don't
Yeah,
know.
let's go back and check.
Yeah, because they all say 100, because I made them weeks ago.
And that was under category?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is, it's 0. Yep,
Thank you.
yep, sorry. Took me a second to catch up with you. Any other questions for right now?
Any theory questions or technical questions? Because
Just if we could have, like, the DPG could have a section of the text, so we don't have to create all this, I mean, section of the.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, and I have that down.
Yeah, and Sherry does know who teaches what, because she has to put it in.
She does.
For us to show.
We had to give, we had to write everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, she, I don't know really why she did that.
but it didn't last year, wouldn't let us copy either, and she kept
No,
saying it
no.
would. It would, but it didn't, so there must be a glitch somewhere, I'm wondering if it's in a coding of the sections.
It might be, but what I've been doing lately for these kind of higher tech issues is writing to Sharon and copying Stephen at Infinite Campus.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and repeat that question again.
Can we enter independent work, use that as an assessment, after we've done our teaching and we've done the guided practice, and then they go back to their seats and they're doing their independent work, and we grade that?
Yes.
That's a formal assessment that we can enter. It doesn't just have to be at the end of the chapter test kind of thing.
Correct. You can enter, well, anything that's summative, anything that is formative, and anything that is anywhere in between, because some things will kind of cross line in between both. And so independent practice would definitely be a form of assessment.
As long as
As long
it's
as they're
truly
doing
an independent.
Yes, as long as they're doing it on their own, it is a true reflection of what they know, absolutely. Yep.
And one of the problems I know that, someone came to me already today and said, well, it really took a long time because I had, you know, we do vocabulary and comprehension every week and it took me forever and I gotta do this every week, twice. And what I
20
said
minutes.
was, just because you are assessing it doesn't necessarily mean you don't have to put it in the grade book. Like if you're assessing vocabulary every week, maybe you're gonna put, every other week you're gonna put vocabulary in, and then the next week you're gonna look for comprehension. So you don't have to necessarily put every single time they do one of these standards or GLICs in there. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like some of it's ongoing and you
It's
do it
more-
every day. You're not
It's more
gonna
of a
put it in.
checkpoint when
Yes.
they're doing it independently and you need a dipstick of where they are. Then that would be another assessment that you could put in there every so often to make sure that they're moving along as they should. I know you're all going to know, you know, as you work with them formatively, but it's nice to have some summative data as well. And that particular person, well, I don't think he cares, but it was Chris, and he's pretty technologically astute, so his concern was, if I'm feeling pretty technologically astute, and this took me 20 minutes to enter an assignment, and, you know, and it was attached to 4 GLICs, he figured out too, along with what Tracy said, not only to do the dipsticks less frequently, but also to fill all 4 columns first with the 2s, and then go back and do his 3s, 4s, and 1s. So he kind of found 2 shortcuts that he thought would kind of cut his time in probably half.
Well, and the other nice thing is too, is that this
And
is a
still
good
be-
way, say one student gets it after 2 assessments and they can keep going, and the other student, man, they gotta do 3 or 4 practice. You can do individual students a lot easier now without exempting everyone else, right? Because now you don't have to necessarily exempt everyone, now you have to include everyone, is that right?
Mhm.
It's the opposite of what it used to be. Because it used to be if you were only giving an assessment to one student, you had to go into your class and exempt the rest of the class. Now you don't have to do that. You can actually just do an individual student if they need more, you know, time to get to it correct, I guess.
Yes. It is a nice option.
So guided practice would not be assessed anymore?
No, guided practice would not be assessed.